Hello and welcome to part 3 of 6 of the series of talks on conscious personality management. In the introductory talk in the series, which was the first talk, we spoke about a certain framework, a certain model, which is called the septenary system, that allows us to connect with the idea of personality in a philosophical manner. And in the last talk, which was the second in the series, we spoke about how do we manage our physical body as one aspect of our personality. We will move on from there in this talk and focus on the etheric self. In certain systems of knowledge, this part of our personality is also called the prana, right, or the pranic body. It is important not to confuse the prana with the breath. It's not simply the idea of the breath. It is about the force that vitalizes the body. In both the human and in the animal systems, the physical body and the etheric body are often very closely infused, in the sense that unless the physical part of our personality is infused with the etheric part, which means the physical is infused with prana, it's only then that it's animated. It's only then that the physical lives. If it is not animated, it cannot live. If prana or the etheric force does not flow through the physical body, it does not live. So in that sense, these two are very closely intertwined with each other. And therefore, as we go along, we will realize that a lot of what is useful in management of the physical self is also something that's useful in the management of the etheric self, but there are certain distinctions that we will make as we go along. Now, what is the default mode? What is the natural or habitual tendency of this etheric body that all of us have? The natural tendency is for it to rest. It is to be in a state of inertia, of continuing to do what it's doing with the least amount of effort. As a result, it's possible that when the etheric self is not paid conscious attention, it can lead us into a mode of lethargy, into a mode of laziness, into a mode of not wanting to do anything and whiling our life and time away. In many ways, it is the mismanagement of this etheric self which leads us into certain kind of addictions. For example, binge watching on an OTT platform is an example of not managing the etheric self, not managing the flow of prana. Now, if that is our default mode and we do not want to be led by the default mode and we want to take conscious action, what is it that we can do to work with the etheric self? Here are some things we can do. And you will notice that some of these are also relevant to what we spoke about in management of the physical body. The first thing is to introduce a sense of rhythm. Make sure that the etheric energy, the prana, keeps flowing through the body. And therefore, it is important to have a sense of rhythm in terms of movement, in terms of day-to-day activities, in terms of making sure that one does not rest in one position, in one state, which is inertial for too long. So make sure that there is enough variety in the kind of things that you can do with the physical body, which also moves the etheric body along with it. So rhythm and movement are two things that in many ways go together. And you can introduce your own form of rhythm or your own form of movement which works for you, for your body, knowing yourself. For some of us, this sense of rhythm is introduced by a sense of strict adherence to a certain schedule in terms of daily routines as well as work and exercise and food and so on. For some people, it's more fluid, but still there is a sense of movement that is incorporated through various activities that one does. There's also the idea of conscious physical movement through exercises, yoga, jogging, dancing, even music and singing and so on. So there are various ways in which one can introduce rhythm and movement, but it's important that this is done very, very regularly, right? Because that's the key. Otherwise, the etheric body tends to go into this mode of inertia where it says, okay, I will do this tomorrow, maybe I will postpone this, maybe I will binge watch a little more. And that is not quite conscious management of the etheric body. Another thing that's important is to give purpose to this flow of the etheric self, right? The etheric body is all about flow. It is about vitalizing. It is about enlivening the physical body. If it has nowhere to go, if it has no purpose, then it does not feel the need to move. And therefore, it's important that we give it purpose. And the purpose could be in the form of large life goals that one is consistently working towards, or it could be in terms of short-term goals, simple day-to-day objectives. And particularly if you've gotten into a state of inertia for a long while, it's important to start off with these simple, short, sweet goals. It could be as simple as saying, all right, it's morning, I'm going to get up and I'm going to brush my teeth. That's one goal, right? I'm going to go fix myself for breakfast, or I'm going to go shower, I'm going to water my plants, I'm going to clean the house. Giving it simple tasks. It does not have to be big, hairy, audacious goals that scare you, right? Particularly in certain moments where there are other areas of the personality that also need to be simultaneously dealt with. The idea is to consistently maintain the flow, allow the flow to happen and not let it rest. Because in a state of rest, the etheric body is not really vitalizing or enlivening. And hence, it's critical that we give it a purpose, we give it goals and make it work towards it. So the point of reflection that I leave you with is, what does your etheric body ask you to avoid? Are there certain kinds of activities, certain kinds of tasks where you find the etheric body responding with more resistance than in other times? For example, do you avoid Netflix? Or do you avoid exercise? Or do you avoid meeting a certain kind of a person? Do you avoid going down to the market? Are there resistances that come up for certain activities but not for others? And if so, how is the flow of energy blocked in that moment? That's something that you can ask for yourself and manage it differently. And of course, like with any other area of managing our personality, a consistent question that we always ask every body, every aspect of our personality is there a part of your life where this aspect of your personality, the etheric body in this case, is the etheric body driving you instead of you driving the etheric body? Because at the end of the day, conscious personality management is really about ensuring that we manage the personality. We drive the vehicle that is the personality and not let it drive us. So have fun having this reflection, and we will come back to you in the next part of the series to talk about the emotional self.
Help Talks are daily health-related talks held at Health Education Library for People, Mumbai, India. For more information visit www.healthlibrary.com. Subscribe to Help Talks channel. Be better informed about your health.